The calm surface suddenly shatters, erasing the last margin of safety. From the swamp, the crocodile appears like a hunting machine refined for a decisive moment. No extra sound, no wasted motion, only total control of the space ahead. Each passing beat becomes a tense battle of timing, where instinct and precision merge into one. Beneath the deep water, the rules are reset by the will of the one holding the advantage. Each year, the migration cycle drives tens of thousands of wildebeest across more than 500 miles of the East African savanna. The Serengeti trembles with pounding hooves and dust rising dozens of feet, all funneling toward a single bottleneck: river crossings on the route to new grazing grounds. For wildebeest, water is a mandatory gate. For crocodiles, it is a season of opportunity. Beneath the murky surface, a Nile crocodile weighing up to about 1,200 pounds can remain motionless for weeks, even months, conserving energy. When the herd crowds the bank, the sheer density turns the formation into a living current that can fracture. One animal losing rhythm in the strong flow or bumping into submerged rocks is enough to open a gap. In that instant, the crocodile drives its armored body forward in a short burst of speed. In the swirl, a wildebeest weighing around 550 pounds struggles to keep its balance. But in water, the advantage shifts to the one that chose the terrain. With a gripping force that can reach about 3,700 pounds per square inch, the crocodile clamps down and pulls its target into deeper water, where an opponent has a harder time holding steady. The migration continues, pressing towards the far bank. In the Serengeti, the crocodile is not a symbol of destruction, but a quiet, regulating force, keeping the savanna's rhythm from pushing beyond its limits. On the African savanna, the lion stands as a symbol of explosive power, weighing around 500 pounds and capable of bursts reaching up to 50 miles per hour on dry ground. But that authority fades at the water's edge. For lions, a river is both a source of life and the boundary of a different set of rules, where crocodiles wait in silence. The two species rarely seek direct confrontation. They cross paths because territories overlap and survival demands it. When a young or inexperienced lion steps within a few feet of the bank, the surface that seems calm can change in an instant. A short, precise surge pulls the target away from stable footing, prompting warning roars as the pride pulls back and restores a safe distance. The balance shifts only when a crocodile moves several yards onto land. On solid ground, thick armor and a heavy frame reduce its ability to maneuver. Lions then use speed and coordination to pressure the opponent back towards the water. If retreat is delayed, the crocodile can slip into a disadvantage, a cost nature calculates without hesitation. At this boundary, power does not belong to the strongest, but to the one that commands the right space at the right moment. The hippopotamus appears like a living fortress. An adult weighs close to 3,000 pounds, with broad shoulders and dense muscle pressing its full mass into the water. Its jaws can open nearly 150 degrees, and lower canines stretching over 20 inches are not for hunting, but for asserting boundaries. The slow exterior is only the surface. Beneath it lies pressure that forces any challenger to think twice. Along the marsh edge, the crocodile operates like a shadow. It lowers its body, blends into the water, and reads every vibration. When a young hippo drifts outside the protective ring, a fragile moment opens. A sudden, close approach targets the gap, using surprise before order can close again. But against a fully grown hippo, the balance shifts immediately. The crocodile is pushed out of its advantage and into shallow water, an unfavorable zone where multiple hippos can form a closing front. An adult hippo, with an estimated bite force of around 1,800 pounds per square inch, combined with sheer weight and coordinated movement, creates pressure that allows no margin for error, and the encounter ends as quickly as it began. Leaving Africa behind, Brazil's Pantanal reveals a completely different arena of survival. This is the domain of the Yacaré caiman, reptiles reaching about 8 feet in length and weighing roughly 120 pounds, enough to make most aquatic life keep its distance. Yet even in these familiar wetlands, they are not entirely secure. Within the dense riverside vegetation, another predator watches in silence. The jaguar, South America's most formidable big cat. Unlike lions, jaguars have developed a distinct strategy. With a bite force reaching around 1,500 pounds per square inch, the strongest among big cats relative to body size, and with strong swimming and diving ability, the jaguar turns the water's edge into an extension of its hunting ground. The encounter begins with patience. From thick cover, a jaguar weighing about 200 pounds tracks a caiman basking on a sandbank or drifting quietly near shore. When the moment is right, it erupts in a brief burst, closing in with precise accuracy. A well-placed jaw hold quickly strips the opponent of any effective resistance. Even as the caiman attempts to return to the water, The jaguar's shoulder strength and bite maintain control. When the struggle ends, the big cat drags the target up the bank and disappears into the forest, where the terrain continues to favor it. This encounter reveals a clear truth. The jaguar does not only rule the jungle, but also stands as a real challenge to creatures long considered masters of the wetlands. Impalas are the athletes of the savanna. Slender bodies, spring-loaded leaps, and burst speeds reaching around 50 miles per hour when startled. For that reason, they often approach watering holes at early morning or late afternoon, when temperatures are cooler and the herd can maintain collective awareness. Yet this familiar routine draws Impalas closest to the most dangerous boundary, the water's edge. Just below the surface, a crocodile lowers its body and moves in without a sound. Along the jaws, pressure-sensing organs read even the smallest ripples touching the mud. When an individual bends down and the distance closes to just a few feet, a short, sudden surge turns terrain advantage into instant control. The surface barely ripples, then settles again. In the wild, ambushes at drinking sites offer crocodiles a high success rate, especially against medium-sized hoofed animals like impalas. Outcomes still depend on current strength, herd alertness, and individual experience. But in many situations, the edge at the water outperforms long pursuits on land by lions or leopards. African buffalo are symbols of raw power. A full-grown individual can weigh more than 2,000 pounds, carrying thick, curved horns like cold steel, an active defense that forces most land predators to keep their distance. Yet no advantage holds value in every terrain, especially at the fragile boundary where solid ground gives way to water. From beneath the murky surface, the ambusher launches a short, precise surge, aiming to pull the struggle into deeper water, where current and resistance work in its favor. Against an adult buffalo, the balance is difficult to break. Superior mass and legs planted like driven posts allow it to angle backward, dragging the encounter onto shallow sand. Forced out of the water, the crocodile reveals its weakness and loosens its grip to preserve a path of retreat. With a calf, the situation is far more fragile. A lighter body and untested footing mean that a single moment outside the protective circle can create an opening. The approach remains the same. Close in at the water's edge, separate the target from stable ground, and draw the encounter into deeper water. For this reason, when a crocodile is seen stranded on land, the buffalo's response is decisive. Head lowered, steps driven forward, it pressures the opponent back toward the water's boundary, where the rules immediately shift. Dust bursts into the air as the wild dogs surge forward like arrows, their formation tightening in a single synchronized rhythm. There is no growling and no hesitation, only speed and carefully calculated angles sealing off every possible escape. Then another presence spills into the frame, the most dominant ruler of this land. The rhythm of the hunt falters as the safe distance collapses. The question remains whether the disciplined pack can maintain its tempo, or whether it will be forced to retreat from the very first moment. A deep roar rolls across the savanna, tearing through the silence like a warning that needs no repetition. A lion emerges, moving slowly, yet with overwhelming authority. An adult male weighing over 500 pounds, with a thick mane covering his neck and shoulders, carries the presence of an apex predator in every step. In this land, the lion's arrival signals absolute control. At that moment, wild dogs and the lion are drawn into an unavoidable confrontation. They compete over prey, access to water, and critical movement routes. As the distance closes, even a single advance is enough to disrupt the wild dog's formation. One powerful strike can instantly remove a wild dog, weighing around 60 pounds from the encounter. More concerning is that lions do not act only for food. They actively eliminate weaker individuals, reducing future threats before they can grow. Faced with such raw dominance, the wild dogs choose a different path. Instead of close engagement, they execute a deliberate withdrawal, using speed to spread out and turn the pack into constant, fluid motion that is difficult to pin down. For wild dogs, survival is not about overpowering a lion through strength, but about knowing when to pull back and preserve the group for the long pursuits that lie ahead. Under temperatures rising beyond 100 degrees Fahrenheit, the African wetlands that appear calm conceal a silent danger. Crocodiles lie hidden beneath murky water, bodies weighing over 1,000 pounds blending almost seamlessly into the mud. Motionless and patient, they wait for the smallest lapse. In these waters, control belongs to the ambusher. Wild dogs understand this boundary of risk. Each time they approach a water source, the pack moves with purpose, maintains safe spacing, and avoids lingering in one place. Yet a single moment of inattention can undo every calculation. One less experienced individual lowers its head to drink, and in an instant, a massive presence surges from below. Instead of scattering in panic, the remaining pack reacts almost immediately. They rush in, surround the threat, and apply constant pressure, creating confusion around the ambush site. The sudden disturbance forces the crocodile to loosen its hold. That brief opening allows the trapped individual to break free and scramble back onto land, carrying injuries that will remain for life. The encounter is swift, but its message is unforgiving. Survival depends not only on strength, but on awareness, coordination, and the ability to learn quickly from mistakes. For wild dogs, each weighing only about 60 pounds, buffalo have never been a routine target. In their hunting strategy, buffalo appear only when the pack identifies a young, aging, or accidentally isolated individual. For that reason, every encounter is not a test of strength, but a measure of patience. When buffalo lower their heads and form a solid line, wild dogs immediately pull back. They avoid direct confrontation with a wall of horns that is nearly impossible to breach, instead circling at the edges, keeping distance and waiting. The moment a gap appears in the formation, even briefly, is enough for an isolation strategy to begin. Rather than rushing in for a decisive finish, wild dogs maintain constant vocal pressure and perform feint advances from multiple directions, unsettling the target and disrupting its movement. When timing aligns, the pack coordinates to focus on vulnerable points, bringing the encounter to a close as efficiently as possible. Nature delivers a clear lesson. Not every display of strength requires confrontation. Sometimes, the greatest skill lies in waiting for the right moment. Under the soft glow of dawn spreading along the edge of the savanna, baboons occupy elevated mounds and scattered tree trunks as vital anchors for survival. An adult male, weighing close to 90 pounds, with canine teeth measuring about 2 inches, stands at the center of a smoothly functioning alert system. Lookouts are positioned above, females and juveniles are tightly grouped below, and the front line remains ready to respond to any unfamiliar movement. Beneath the grass cover, African wild dogs emerge quietly, their low, flexible bodies gliding close to the ground. With hunting success rates that can reach 80%, they understand that this opponent cannot be overcome through direct force. Rather than launching a full assault, the pack spreads out, applies steady pressure, and searches for opportunities to isolate younger or slower individuals. The baboons react quickly. The largest males form a defensive line, releasing loud warning calls and surging forward in intimidating charges, enough to maintain a safe distance while the group behind climbs into higher branches. The encounter becomes a tense contest between hunting strategy and territorial defense. It takes only a brief disruption in rhythm. One juvenile, weighing under 20 pounds, slips beyond the protective ring. A chase erupts and ends rapidly. When the wild dogs secure food, the baboon troop is forced to withdraw with losses. The savanna gradually returns to its familiar rhythm, yet footprints pressed into the grass and distant calls serve as a reminder that the struggle for survival is never truly over. On the Serengeti plains, the ground trembles each year as a massive migration unfolds, with more than 1 million wildebeest traveling nearly 500 miles. They move as a vast collective, relying on numbers and synchronized movement to reduce risk. A full-grown individual can weigh up to 400 pounds, with the stamina needed to endure the harsh African heat. Within this flow, wild dogs do not charge into the crowd. The pack follows quietly, patiently locking onto individuals that fall out of rhythm or begin to lag behind. The pursuit stretches on, tense and unrelenting. Wild dogs accelerate to speeds approaching 37 miles per hour, rotating the lead and steadily narrowing the gap. Each stride drains the target's endurance. Each passing minute adds constant pressure. As breathing grows heavier and pace begins to slow, the balance gradually shifts. This marathon-style strategy is also used against more formidable opponents, such as the oryx, an antelope armed with horns reaching up to 47 inches, sharp and imposing. Rather than risking close contact, wild dogs maintain distance and sustain a controlled pursuit. Continuous pressure from behind leaves no time for recovery. Through tight coordination and strict pack discipline, the advantage is methodically managed, securing essential food resources that allow the group to survive in an unforgiving environment. Impala are symbols of speed and agility on the savanna. Even though they weigh nearly twice as much as wild dogs, they can leap up to 10 feet and change direction almost instantly. Thanks to their large numbers and wide distribution, impala serve as a primary food source. In many regions, they account for roughly 20 to 30% of a wild dog pack's diet, providing consistent energy for the entire group. A pursuit usually begins with patience. Wild dogs maintain a safe distance, moving parallel to the herd and quietly applying directional pressure before splitting off to form a loose encirclement. The impala's alert instincts trigger an immediate escape. Although they can reach speeds close to 50 miles per hour in the opening moments, that advantage is difficult to sustain against a strategy of angle cutting and rotating the lead, carried on for miles. As the terrain shifts into low ground or damp areas, the powerful leaps that once offered an edge gradually lose effectiveness. Each turn and every extended stretch drains endurance, turning the escape into a race against exhaustion. The river takes no sides. It simply marks the boundary for those who understand its rules. Every encounter passes in a flash, leaving behind wet mud and a long stretch of silence. Whoever commands the right terrain earns the right to move forward, and many stories still lie ahead. If viewers wish to follow this journey, they are invited to like and subscribe so they do not miss the next ripple.
The smell of death carries in the current.